Elon Musk has just revealed a major new update about the Boring Company, and it could be the clearest sign yet that his underground transportation idea is finally becoming real. New tunnels are opening in Las Vegas, more stations are being added across the city, and according to recent updates, the Vegas Loop is expanding much faster than many people expected just a few years ago. For a long time, critics laughed at the idea. The internet called it Teslas in tunnels, and many people believed the Boring Company was simply another futuristic Musk project that would never grow beyond a small demo. But today, the system is already transporting passengers underneath Las Vegas every single day, and Musk's newest updates suggest this may only be the beginning. What makes this story important is that the Boring Company is no longer just selling a futuristic vision. It now has active tunnels, operating stations, expansion approvals, and growing interest from cities around the world. The bigger question now is no longer whether Musk can build tunnels. The real question is whether this could eventually change how major cities handle transportation forever. The idea for the Boring Company actually started with something very simple: traffic. Back in 2016, Musk posted online that Los Angeles traffic was driving him nuts. At first, many people thought he was joking when he said he wanted to start digging tunnels underneath cities, but he was completely serious. Musk believed modern cities had reached a limit. Roads could only get so wide, more cars kept appearing every year, and building traditional subway systems often took decades and billions of dollars. So instead of building upward with more roads and bridges, Musk wanted to build downward. That became the foundation of the Boring Company. The goal was to create smaller and cheaper underground tunnels where electric vehicles could move passengers quickly without traffic lights, intersections, or congestion above ground. At the time, critics completely dismissed the idea. Many transportation experts argued that tunnels were too expensive and impractical, while others claimed Musk was simply reinventing the subway in a more complicated way. And honestly, in the beginning, the entire project sounded strange to a lot of people. The company even sold flamethrowers and hats during its early days to help raise money, which made many people take the project even less seriously. Online jokes exploded everywhere. To many people, it looked like Elon Musk was turning transportation into another internet meme. But behind the jokes, real work was happening. Engineers were testing tunneling systems, new boring machine designs were being developed, and slowly, the company started building actual infrastructure underground. Eventually, Las Vegas gave Musk the chance to prove the concept in the real world. A lot of people still think the Boring Company mostly exists as an idea, but the reality today is very different. The company's biggest active project is the Vegas Loop in Las Vegas. The system first opened beneath the Las Vegas Convention Center in 2021. At first, it was relatively small and mainly designed to move convention visitors between different halls underground. But over the past few years, the project has expanded steadily. Today, the Vegas Loop includes multiple active stations connecting places like Resorts World, Westgate, Encore, Fontainebleau, and the Las Vegas Convention Center itself. According to the Boring Company, the system has already transported millions of passengers, and unlike many experimental transportation projects, people are actually using it daily. Passengers ride inside Tesla vehicles that travel through narrow underground tunnels. The rides are short, usually just a few minutes long, but that is exactly the point. The system is designed for fast point-to-point transportation without constantly stopping like traditional buses or trains. That creates a very different experience from normal public transportation. Riders can often travel directly to their destination instead of waiting through multiple stops. And because the tunnels are underground, there are no traffic lights or road congestion slowing things down. Recent reports from 2025 and early 2026 say the system now has over 10 miles of tunnels completed, with additional tunnel construction still underway across Las Vegas. What matters here is that Vegas became more than just a demo project. It became proof that Musk's tunneling idea could actually operate in the real world. Now comes the update that has everyone paying attention again. Over the past several months, the Boring Company has revealed major progress on expanding the Vegas Loop network. New stations have continued opening across the city, including the Fontainebleau station, while additional tunnel segments are actively being completed underneath Las Vegas. One of the biggest recent milestones involved the company's Prufrock 2 tunnel boring machine. In early 2026, the Boring Company announced that the machine completed a new 2.28-mile tunnel section, reportedly the company's longest single Vegas Loop tunnel so far. And this matters because speed is everything for Musk's vision. The faster tunnels can be built, the more realistic large underground transportation networks become. The company also says future Vegas Loop expansions could eventually connect major locations, including Harry Reid International Airport, Allegiant Stadium, downtown Las Vegas, and even future high-speed rail connections. Some airport service plans are already moving forward, although parts of the route still use surface roads until direct underground airport connectors are fully completed. At the same time, local officials in Las Vegas continue approving additional stations and expansion phases. Reports suggest the final Vegas loop could eventually include dozens of stations spread across the city. And there is another important shift happening here. A few years ago, many people treated the Boring Company like a side project. But now cities, developers, and transportation groups are starting to treat it more seriously because there is finally something tangible to look at. Not just promises, actual tunnels, actual passengers, actual expansion. The biggest reason Musk believes the Boring Company can succeed comes down to one thing: speed. Traditional tunnel projects are extremely expensive and painfully slow. Some subway systems can take more than a decade to complete just a few miles, with costs exploding into the billions before construction is even finished. Musk wanted to change that completely. That is why the Boring Company created its own tunnel boring machines called ProofRock. The goal is simple: dig faster, lower costs, and automate as much of the process as possible. According to the company, newer ProofRock machines are designed to tunnel continuously with far less downtime compared to older systems. Musk has repeatedly said that making tunnels cheaper is the only way underground transportation can scale globally. To reduce cost even more, the tunnels themselves are smaller than subway tunnels because they mainly carry electric vehicles instead of large trains. Supporters argue this could make underground systems financially possible for more cities that normally could never afford massive subway projects. Critics, however, say smaller tunnels also limit passenger capacity compared to traditional mass transit. Still, the technology has clearly improved. The fact that the Boring Company keeps finishing tunnels faster than before is one of the biggest reasons people are beginning to pay attention again. Las Vegas may only be the beginning. Over the last year, the Boring Company has started exploring projects far beyond Nevada. Dubai previously announced plans connected to a possible Dubai loop, although many details remain limited publicly and timelines are still unclear. More recently, the Boring Company launched something called the Tunnel Vision Challenge, inviting cities across America to pitch ideas for new underground transportation systems. And surprisingly, a lot of cities showed interest. Places like Dallas, Baltimore, New Orleans, and areas near Houston submitted proposals hoping to receive free or partially funded tunnel projects from the company. Now, this does not mean these projects are guaranteed to happen. Many are still in very early planning stages, and some may never move forward at all. But the important thing is that governments and developers are no longer instantly dismissing the idea. That alone is a major shift from where things stood just a few years ago. There are even early discussions involving tourism and entertainment projects connected to large resort developments and entertainment districts. Again, most of these plans are still preliminary. But for Musk, the strategy is becoming very clear. Prove the concept in Vegas first, then expand everywhere else. And if that happens successfully, underground transportation networks could eventually become part of future smart cities around the world. Even with all the progress, the Boring Company still faces serious criticism. Some transportation experts argue the Vegas loop is less efficient than traditional public transit systems like subways or trains. Critics say using Tesla vehicles inside tunnels limits how many passengers can move at once compared to large metro systems designed to carry thousands of people simultaneously. Others question whether the system can truly scale to serve massive city populations. There have also been safety and environmental concerns. In recent years, reports surfaced involving workplace safety complaints, tunnel flooding concerns, chemical exposure incidents, and environmental violation allegations connected to Vegas construction projects. Some fines and investigations were reported publicly in Nevada. The company has also seen multiple projects around the United States quietly delayed, paused, or canceled over the years. That is important because online discussions sometimes make it sound like every Boring Company project automatically becomes reality, and that simply is not true. Some proposed tunnels in cities like Chicago and Los Angeles never fully moved forward, while other projects became stuck in approval processes or faced political opposition. There is also another important thing worth mentioning. Some rumors online claim fully autonomous underground Tesla systems are already operating widely inside the Vegas loop. That is not accurate yet. While testing involving self-driving systems has reportedly started in limited situations, safety drivers are still involved in many operations. So despite the excitement, there are still major technical, political, and financial challenges ahead. This project is far from guaranteed success. But even critics admit something important has changed. The Boring Company has survived much longer than many expected, and instead of shrinking, the project is still expanding. When you zoom out, it becomes clear that the Boring Company may not just be about tunnels. It could be part of a much larger transportation system connected to Tesla and autonomous driving. Imagine underground routes filled with self-driving Tesla robotaxis, moving passengers non-stop between airports, hotels, stadiums, and downtown areas without traffic above ground. That appears to be the long-term vision Musk keeps hinting at. And honestly, the pieces are starting to connect. Tesla is heavily focused on autonomy. The Boring Company is building underground infrastructure, and Musk constantly talks about creating cities that move faster and more efficiently. Of course, a fully autonomous underground network at massive scale still does not exist today, but for the first time, it feels like Musk is slowly building the foundation for it, piece by piece. And that is why so many people are suddenly paying attention again. Because this may not simply be a tunnel project anymore. It may be the early version of an entirely new transportation ecosystem. The next few years will probably decide whether the Boring Company becomes a real transportation revolution or simply an interesting Las Vegas experiment. Right now, the company's main focus remains expanding the Vegas loop. More stations, more tunnel miles, and eventually direct airport connections are expected as construction continues. If the system keeps growing successfully, other cities may feel more confident approving similar projects. But scaling this globally will not be easy. Every city has different regulations, geology, politics, and transportation needs. What works in Las Vegas may not automatically work somewhere else, and public opinion still remains divided. Some people see Musk building the future of transportation underground, while others see an expensive system that still has not proven itself at full scale. Either way, one thing is becoming impossible to ignore. The Boring Company is much further along than most people expected, and that alone makes this one of Elon Musk's most interesting projects to watch right now. For years, the Boring Company felt like one of Elon Musk's strangest ideas. Now it is operating underneath one of America's biggest tourist cities, carrying real passengers through expanding underground networks every single day. That alone is a huge shift. The latest updates show the company is still digging faster, expanding further, and attracting more attention from cities around the world. Will it completely change transportation forever? Nobody knows yet. There are still serious questions about safety, scalability, and long-term practicality. But what makes this story fascinating is that Musk has already pushed the project far beyond what most critics thought was possible. And if the Vegas loop keeps growing successfully, we may eventually look back at these tunnels as the very beginning of a much bigger transformation in how cities move people. Because sometimes the biggest technological shifts do not start with something that looks revolutionary at first. Sometimes they start quietly underneath the ground.